certainly saw this one coming, and this week CNN made it official. The network ended its ill-fated attempt to resurrect the venerable debate program Crossfire, canceling the show a little over a year after it was relaunched. Too much fanfare. It's the latest cutback at CNN, which is struggling to find a voice that resonates with viewers. But over at MSNBC, things look even more grim, with woeful ratings. Both the New York Times and the Washington Post took whacks this week, saying the network is sliding into irrelevance. If it all points to a larger question of whether today's audience can sustain so many 24-hour cable networks, I'm just not sure. You know, I always have CNN on because it's kind of my default station, and certainly during the Malaysian Air Flight 370. I was really interested in it, even at night. So I was one of those people who kept going back even when there was no news. But I still think they do the best straightforward, solid news. And I flip around to O'Reilly and those guys at night. But I basically virtually never tune on MSNBC, even though I like them, I like their people. But once you're sort of on one cable, what's the point of switching to the other? And I really wonder, Josh, you're more of an expert on this, whether they are sustainable.
Well, I think MSNBC is, their theories at least, they're just coming out of a dead period for them, because as soon as the midterms come along and election season for 2016 really ramps up again, their brand is politics. They're hoping that they can get that interest revival. CNN has a different model in that now only about 10% of their revenue comes from their primetime television lineup. Both, there's a lot of daytime in there, but also international distribution, and one of the largest news websites on the internet. So while I think we're going to continue to see shrinking audiences there, barring global chaos, which is of course when CNN does their best, I do think that they're going to push through. And Fox News, of course, still makes a lot of money and will be around for a while.
Global chaos.
That's CNN's beat.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I watched a fair amount of cable news a few years ago. I found I've pretty much stopped. I haven't watched MSNBC for a long time. I never watch Fox anymore. CNN occasionally. It just doesn't do it for me.
And one thing CNN at its worst, Crossfire, and MSNBC at its worst have in common is they regurgitate boilerplate, partisan, scripted boilerplate that's of no use to anyone with a brain.
I'm the last person to ask, because it's like,
yeah, watch it.
Well, all day long I'm doing news. I come home, I don't want to watch the news. It's like eating tacos at Taco Bell. But you can, when you've studied the issue and then you go home and see it on TV, sometimes it's so boiled down that it doesn't feel satisfying.
I'm still one of those watchers.